Hey, what's up, everybody? Peek out here in Singapore, and it is late, not super late, and I've kind of been all over the place a little bit, mostly because, you guessed it, I'm scatterbrained. And I kind of feel like the more I talk to people who are creative, the more I find that a lot of them are scatterbrained, but with enough experience, a lot of them have found coping mechanisms or even strategies to plan their day out and really focus on whatever it is that they need to get done. And what I'm finding is I need to be on and off for increments of time. It's almost like what used to be where TV used to be a situation where you sat down and watched a whole movie with limited commercial interruptions, obviously. Now you have a lot more commercial interruptions. The bite-sized pieces of actual content are maybe 5 to 10 minutes long, and more than that, it's hard to concentrate. So you already know there's a break coming up. And I see that most in my daughter and the way she's able to sit down and sometimes watch things or she's doing other things in between. Her attention span really isn't there because we're not taught to do that anymore. So what I'm finding is the best way for me to actually focus and get things done is to be like 25 minutes on and then go do something physical, like move around the house, cook something, jump up and I don't know, like exercise something so that I can get my work done. And to be very frank, the best way for me to do that is to set an alarm for every half an hour. And yeah, that's probably annoying and everything, but it kind of makes it fun a little bit. It kind of forces me to drink more water. It forces me to be more cognizant of the time I'm spending because I'm scatterbrained. I'm not proud of that fact, but I'm not ashamed of it either. It's just it is what it is. So what I'm trying to say is I could have anywhere from 5 to 10 different ideas that I'm trying to work on at the same time in a day. But if I don't understand that I'm scatterbrained and then work towards not letting that affect me, it's not going to get done. I'm very good about starting on one thing, like for example, going into a room to come find something, forget what I came into the room for, go do something else catches my eye. Like I get scatterbrained. I'm absent-minded professor, if you will. But because I don't have a schedule per se, I don't have to punch a clock, I don't have to do anything in particular, I'm in charge of my own time. It's adulting at its finest, and I really don't like it, but I need to man up. I need to, step to the plate and actually do the things that I dream about. The other thing about being scatterbrained means you do a lot of daydreaming. I could do this and I could do that, and I can tell you thousands of stories of, ideas I've had over the years that I really didn't act on. And this year, for me, is more about the year of yes. It's the more about, doing rather than just thinking about it. We can plan all we want to, and yes, you fail if you don't plan properly, but if you don't do, you're not going to get anywhere either. So what I realized today, the nugget I want to share with you today is if you don't start, you don't have the chance to expand or scale up. I could tell you about this big empire I will have one day and I will rule the world and I will be a millionaire and all these things. That's great, but if I don't start and make $20 first, there's no way I can make that $20 into $30 and then $50 and $100 and scale from there. I've got to do the grunt work. I got to start somewhere. You never know until you try. And you can't make it bigger until you start. So for me, that's been the major epiphany today. And I hate to say that it took me 3 years to really, really appreciate that fact. But what I also know is you can have these moments of clarity hundreds of thousands of times throughout your lifetime. The difference between us and the sages and the monks and those enlightened people is they stay in that enlightened phase. We have a quick glimpse of it and then it kind of fades off and we go back to whatever it was that was distracting us in the first place. So that's part of the reason I do this podcast. It's part of the reason I share with you, what I've been through during the day, the activities I accomplished to show you what a day in the life of an entrepreneur who's just starting out kind of looks like. I am in charge of my own fate. I don't like it. I would rather have someone say, do this, this, and this, and you get it done. I'm a list person. I like lists. If you tell me I have to call this person, I have to speak to that person, I have to confirm this, this, and this, I'll get it done. I will knock out the list. I will be diligent to make sure that that list is done. But if there's no taskmaster, that means I'm in charge. And as much as I would like to be able to say that I'm a great taskmaster, I can get people to, do things it's also easy for me to make excuses. It's part of the reason my favorite book is called The Slight Edge. It's easy to do all the things you're dreaming of doing. It's also easy not to do them. So being scatterbrained does not help that fact. It means that, while I'm searching for ways to convert a podcast from SoundCloud to Anchor, I also see ads in the corner of my eye, and I also see other videos of sales funnels and product pages, and there I am off on a tangent after that. It's not easy. Being in charge can be fun, but it's not easy. Because there's no one else you can blame at the end of the day but yourself, and there's no one else to hold you accountable but yourself, at least in the beginning phases. Because right now I am accounts and finance, I am HR, I am talent management, I am brand, quality control, all of that. Eventually, when I continue to keep doing, and because I do, I can scale, I will get to a place where I can delegate some of that work. But even then, if I don't know the work because I've done it before, how will I ever be able to make sure that they hold them accountable to my standards? So yeah, I got to go through the muck. I got to wade through it myself. I got to understand exactly, exactly what kind of viscosity I'm talking about, exactly what kind of mud we're talking about. Whatever it is, I need to know the terms and the time commitment involved, because then when I get designers who happily take money and don't actually, put in the work, or are happy to put off the work until you chase them, I know exactly how much time it takes, and I know exactly what to do or how to get them back into gear. I'm not the kind of person to chase people. I don't like it. I'd rather do it myself. But if you show me who you are and show me that you're, excited about your work and you want to get it done and you're committed to seeing your projects through, then yeah, absolutely, I can respect you, and I can promise you a long and fruitful relationship. But if it turns into one of those situations where I have to chase you, and as it is, I'm already scatterbrained, yeah, it's not going to last that long. So the message tonight, even though it sounds like a rant, is that I'm not perfect, and I'm okay with that. Knowing is half the battle. I think I mentioned on someone else's post today, I made a comment saying that while excusivitis, the post was about, having excuses for everything. So excusivitis is the inflammation of the tongue, is what I was reading. And what I commented was the fact that planning has become a stall tactic for me. It's almost like I can't do anything until I plan it out, which is dumb because I could just start and do and then work my way through it. A lot of times I don't get excited about my work until I start doing it. And it's also part of the reason I avoid doing, because there's a time and commitment involved. I have the capacity. I know all of this. I can get really caught up in my work and spend hours in front of that computer. And sometimes starting is just the big trouble for me. So I don't know what it is that you use to stall with. I don't know what fears you may be battling inside your head. I don't know what your journey looks like. I can only tell you what mine looks like and what I'm going through currently. And yeah, there are lots of ups and downs. There are so many times during the day when I'm thinking, yeah, it's not going to work. Why am I even trying this? But I would be thought of as a sham. How could I possibly pass this off? But there are also times where I feel very, very passionate about my work, and I feel like I really have a good thing going, and I'm excited. But like with cooking, sometimes you don't know the spaghetti's done until you throw it in the wall and see if it sticks. So, go do. Make your life about doing. Obviously, be smart about it, but don't make it conditional. Don't put up conditions about when you can do the work or what you have to do first before you do the work. Yeah, obviously you can plan all you want, but if you don't do, you won't know. I thought I needed a website before I started putting out content, and I did that. Turns out I didn't use my website at all. So now, a year later when I'm redoing the website, I'm trying to find ways to make sure everything connects back to the website. All of the content that I put out. The next thing that I need to learn how to do is repurpose my content. Because it gets hard to try and find new things to talk about when you're passionate about certain things. Anyway, find whatever it is that you're using as an excuse. For me, it's planning. And especially in the beginning of the year, this is the second day of January, and I'm still planning, and I feel like I need a planner before I can. I have 100,000 notebooks, half filled, a quarter filled with stuff. I can begin to tell you what all I have where, but I know that I'm using it as a stall tactic. It's one of those scatterbrained things that I do. So if I don't have a planner, then I can't write down what I need, and okay, well, what else can I do now? Oh, let's go cook, which is not productive towards my business. Or let's go clean because I suddenly feel the need to clean something. So I'm learning how to adult all over again. Don't like it, but no one else is going to do it for me. So it's about time I put down a routine that I can stick to that will help me get as much as I can done. And like I said, honestly speaking, I set an alarm every half an hour when I'm home working on my business so that I can get to working, but I can also get in some exercise as well, because the last thing I want to do is sit for 8 hours without moving, without drinking, without taking a break, without eating properly, because I've done that in corporate America for, 15, 16 plus years, and I don't want to do that either. It's not healthy for me. So yeah, when I look at it like, I have a half an hour to knock this project out, or as much as I can off of it, then I sit down and I get to work. And then it doesn't seem so big. It's almost like I've cut the work down to smaller bite-sized pieces when I haven't. But because I've put a time limit on it, I tend to focus a lot more. So if you do, you find ways and means to get it done better. But if you only think about it or talk about it or dream about it, you have no idea what it takes until you do. So whatever it is that you got going on, think about whether it's being productive or not. And honestly, how I know my work is being productive is if I have something to show for it at the end of the day. If I started something and it's finished by the end of the day, I feel better about it. And yeah, we're all guilty of putting easy things on our list as well, so we can just say that we knocked off 10 things off our list. But you know which ones are more important and more productive and have more of an impact. So it's up to you. Prioritize the big things. You can always fit in the little things everywhere, somewhere along the way. But prioritize the big things, because they will always look big if you don't start on them. All right, rant over. I'm hoping it helped you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you again tomorrow. Good night.